Well, in this part, we want to talk about quantity. In the real world, quantity is one of the most complicated things. You must have experienced this at university. Well, the quantity course has been really difficult. I remember when we had that. We always, with my friends, used to gather together filled with pieces of paper, different kinds of calculators, so that we can actually work with the quantity. And I needed to have gone for different plans. But in softwares, quantity is simple because everything is there. You just need to extract from it, right? So what you really need to care about, or you needed to have cared about it before, not now, is that you needed to have named your quantity correctly. Because when you want the output, right, when you want to schedule, these are based on those names. I mean, if the names are not proper, right, long enough, I don't know anything, but correct. Now, here is the most important place where the names show themselves. Now, another thing you need to pay attention to is that you can only have the quantity of the things that you've modeled. So, the amount of the details you have modeled is really effective here. For example, you've modeled a space, but you didn't model the tools, so you cannot expect to have and see the quantity of that too. So everything we've modeled, basically we can have the quantity of. Now, if I want to say something, I would like to say that we usually cannot have 100% quantity, right? We cannot say that, we cannot expect Revit to give us a quantity that does not need any other calculating, right? Because we never model 100% of the objects of a project. Therefore, either some of the things are, actually we see the quantity of some of the things indirectly. For example, if you want to calculate the perimeter of a room, it would be same as the length of the tools. I mean, you can calculate it indirectly, right? It's true that you haven't modeled, but you can know the quantity. There are some things that we haven't modeled and we cannot calculate it on indirectly. So you have to figure out a way for that. Now, if I want to give you an unofficial statistic, about 25 to 30% of the objects of a project are calculated manually, right? Therefore, if you are working on a project, never promise that I will give you the full quantity of this project. Tell them that I will give you the quantity of the things that I'm about to model in this project based on the contract. So don't get into trouble. The other thing about quantity is that, well, quantity basically in Revit has two functions. One of them, well, everyone knows. What is it? Is that, for example, you calculate things related to objects like length, I don't know, area and these things, and multiply it by a price, and then you will calculate the money. Well, this is normal, but there is another thing, and that sometimes, most of the times, we use this for checking that our design is correct, right? For example, I get the quantity of the wall and I see that there is a wall inside it, 1 centimeter. Now, what does it mean? It means that I've made a mistake. Or, for example, a door with a high meter, with a 4 meter height. You know what I mean? You find these out when you look at the list. I mean, either you or your associates have made a mistake. So you can also find out the problems in your project, or somehow you can control your designs. Right? And even edit it. Right? This is the most interesting part that I will tell you later on. Right? Now let's go and start with the simplest kind of quantity, which is for doors and windows. Now, for opening the schedule of quantity, we need to go here, click it. The first thing you're gonna have to do is to inform Revit what you want the quantity of. You see here is the list of all the objects. You can inform it what you want the quantity of. There's something called multi-category. If you select it, all the objects are actually the quantity of all the objects are given to you. But it's not good because when you do it in groups, it gives you the common parameters, for example, the number, right? Well, we want other things too. But for example, volume, because doors don't have volume, but we want the volume of the other objects. Therefore, it cannot be very interesting. Don't go for it. Do it separately. Now, door, I type D, doors, and OK. So now I've selected what I want the quantity of. Here's the list of the options. Now it says what properties of this door do you need to have in your schedule. Well, I say that, for example, the count, the number, definitely. Family and type, I do want it. Let me tell you something. We have got a family here. Don't get confused. These are in together. This is separated, right? So here we have a family and a type separately. So it's not good to separate them. I think it will be too crowded. Let them be together, right? Family and type. I want the height. I want the level. I want to know which level that is in. Sail height. Well, it's door. It usually does not have, but you can have that. Maybe sail height is given, right? So it's not bad to have it in the schedule, but for the output, you want to give someone to calculate the price, you can delete it then, right? And of course, visual light transmittance. Now I need to put them in order, in the right order. For example, at first I want the number, then the type, then level. Then I want the height, the width, and the sail height. Click OK. Now I've given very big schedule that if you haven't modeled this with Revit, just imagine how long it takes to prepare it, right? It's really difficult because while you're in plans, how do you want to know that, for example, this door is wooden or metal? But now it's just easily given to you, right? Everything. Now, just like you see, this schedule seems so, let's say, complicated and messed up. Now, actually, you can show your skills here to put them in order, right? Make them organized. Now, let's go and find out how we need to do that. In order to organize your schedules, you see these 5 edits. Each of them you click. Again, you see these schedule properties. For example, if you click the 5th, you see this one. The 5th one is open. The second one, actually the second headline is open. But so what? For example, if he has one edit, we can change it here. So it doesn't matter which one you click, right? Now, let's review this schedule. The first headline is fields, right? What you saw. It means that from that door, what items are we about to add to our quantity schedule? You might wonder, what about the rest of them? I mean, are they that useless? Well, these are the things we don't have in our doors. For example, our door does not have fire rating. If it has, we can add it, right? If they are already mentioned, for example, does it have assembly code, right? All of these, does it have? Usually these items are not useful in architecture, right? Each of them you have in the doors you can add to your list. So this is field. The second one is filter. It means that for example, want the doors that just are in level, actually the second basement level. I don't want to see all the doors. I want to focus on the second basement. Okay. You see? Just those doors are shown to me. So filter, let's say, shows you part of your schedule. For example, the doors with this height. You see? Now, shouldn't I wonder why this is just one? It's about that checking. You see? So I should check this. Why I have just one door with this height? Now, we will work on it. Well, I delete the filter. Again, the schedule is coming back. But a very important part that we've got in these schedules is sorting and grouping, right? For example, check this out. Here it says double active single flush door, one in third floor, one in third floor, one in third floor. Well, why doesn't it say 5 in third floor or 10 in the third floor? Why do you say them all separately? Repeated. Here we should mention, right? Now, based on what I just said, based on what thing in common do we prefer to put them in group? Based on the height? No. I mean the metal door and the wooden door in the same group? No. Based on the family and the type. Right? They should be all in one group and they should be all together. Right? I don't want to see them one by one. Right? For example, any of this kind put together in one group and I want to see the number. Right? So here I choose sort based on family, right? I mean, just the ones with the same family and type, write the name in one line and tell me the number. So no repeated ones. But we need to activate this grand totals, right? And of course, inactivate this one too, right? What does it mean? Here it means that you need to write the ones that are alike item by item. This is the meaning of itemize here, right? Making items, right? So itemize every instance. But I don't want it to do that. I don't want it to write it one by one. No, one as there is representative, right? So now it's become much better because, for example, about that door we were just talking. Now here it says we've got 7. From this door, I've got 351, right? So now next question, why don't we see any levels? Why do we have it here but not here? Well, obviously you can guess because, well, there are many reasons for that. The next question is that can we do something to see these based on the levels? Yes, of course. All we've got to do is to make our grouping and sorting smaller, right? Now, if I go to edit one more time, and again, sorting and grouping, and I choose both family and type and the level. Here I choose level. So I want those both with the same family and type and the same level in one group. So let's see what interesting thing happened. For example, you see that door with 300. Here it says it's in the ground floor, 78. The first floor, 100. The second floor, like that. See? Everything is separated. Such a good schedule, isn't it? Well, now I want to make this schedule more possible to understand. For example, I say that when this type is finished, leave a blank line. So I go to sorting and grouping, and then for each family and type, I want a blank line. For each family and type, when it's finished, I want a blank line. You see that? it has become much more understandable. But what did we lose? That 300, right? We don't have it anymore because it's put into group based on the level, so we don't have the total number anymore. So you might say, so what about that grand total? Well, this is it. This is all of the doors of the project. So if you want a total of each group, you need to activate footer, right? You get the footer of each family and type. If I activate it, you see, that's what we see. From this door, for example, in each floor, we have this mount, and this is the total number. And this is that 300. Where is it? Here. Yeah. You see, the schedules started to become much more organized, right? Well, let me also tell you that you can click these headlines and write something down. For example, family and type is a Revit expression. I want to give it to someone who does not know what Revit is, so just write model, for example. You can change it to anything you want. It's all right. You know that. It's not model, it's family and type. We don't have model in Revit. Or for example, here it's written count. We can write number. Write anything you want. You can write it in any languages you want, even. So these names that are here can be changed by you in any way you want, right? Well, for example, let me tell you something interesting. Based on my first explanations, I told you we use the quantity schedule for changing and controlling. So let me tell you what it means by changing. For example, what is this door? It says electrical 1 meter 4 switch, right, in the basement. Now I say, for example, well, this is not a switch, it's a mistake. It's the same, it should be the same as the same door as the stairs. What does it have to do with electrical and switch? It used to be for stairs, so we can open it from here and change it to this, right? It changes in the project. The model changes in the project, and now it is moved to the next, the lower sort. See that? How many was it? 1. Second basement, 1. Now I change it. It is moved to the lower group, and now it has become 3 in the second basement. So we can change model in these schedules. We can change floor. Of course, not indoors, but yeah. For example, we can change the base of the walls. Instead of level 1, it can be level 2. So keep that in mind, that we can use these schedules both for controlling and changing, right? It's such a fantastic thing to do. Next questions. I don't even know where that is, what that is, nothing. Can you tell me where these are in the project? This is like the end of it, like the best thing. We can use these schedules, we can select it, and it shows us where that is in the model. So it does not just calculate this schedule, right? So when you want to see something in your project which is in this schedule, you can select it and then click highlight in model. When you click it, now it's showing this to you in 3D. But you say I don't see it. Well, this is beyond the walls. Now, this palette says if you want to see the doors in this view, close it. But if you click show, it will go to the next view. Now it says all other views are not open. Do you want me to open it for you? I say, yeah, of course, open it. Now it's being moved to the next view. Now, this is where we are. You say, well, this view is fine, so I click close. And it remains selected, right? So be careful. It remains selected. You move, and now you understand what part of the project it was, and you understand it's really for the sewage, for example. So this is the function. You can also click HI and find out how many it is, where it is. You really need to learn how to work with this properly. You would be an amateur to use this schedule for, say, how many I've got, I don't know, this is the length and all that, and that's it. No, the professionals actually every now and then, for example, every 2 weeks, they use this schedule to check everything. And for example, I myself, when actually I'm managing the project, how do you think I check my guys' works? Well, definitely with this, right? I use this schedule. For example, I tell them, what is this name you've given? The guy says it's temporarily. And I say, if you don't have such thing, you will forget it yourself. You don't need to do that. Or for example, I say the wall has weird thickness. And I say, who made it? And when I find out, I tell them, no, this is not the solution. This is how you need to make it. So this schedule, instead of calculating, it controls the project. Very nice. Now I will give you more examples. Let's go for the doors schedule again. How should I go? Where is my schedule? Well, they've got a list called schedules and properties, right? They have a name in Project Browser, and when you open it, you see the schedules you've created. For example, one of them is door schedule. When I open it, I see it. Now I want to make some changes again. Now, let me teach you some professional tricks for which you might get really excited. Revit can tell you from what space to what space the doors have opened. Well, for this one, no one can absolutely claim that can give it to you in a short time, but only with condition, and that's the door can announce what space it has entered from. Right? Well, it's room. Well, if you don't have rooms, your space does not have a name. So let's just imagine you have the room, right? Now I wanted to inform our doors from what space they have entered and to what space they have entered. Now you see this list up there, from room to room. Open from room. What item do I want? We don't want the area. I don't want to know from what area to what area it has gone. Now, you might say, I must know, right? I want to know the width, for example, of the door. Well, you can use it, but we do know that we do care about the name, so I add name. From room, remember. Now, to room, again, name. So from room, name, to room, name. And then click OK. Now, check this out. It's telling me that from this room, I have entered to this room from this room. For example. What about the rest of them? Of course, it doesn't give, because it's got 8, and each of them have entered to a room from one room separately. So if you want to have a list like this, again, you need to make your items a bit smaller. For example, go to sorting and grouping, and from room name and to room name, again, you need to separate them. You see? Now it says we have 3 of this door. From this room, it opens to the stairs. For example, 3 of this door that open to the stairs from the hall. So this is also a professional item which we can use in case, of course, the rooms are placed in our project properly. We can say from what place and to what place it enters. Now, another thing is that maybe now you say that, well, this schedule is very nice, but it just messed up many things. For example, now I don't know how many of this door I've got in the second floor. Now, there's this spark in our head that says, for example, the doors do not need to have just one schedule. There should be a schedule that the priority says from what space to what space they go, and another schedule that only focuses on the numbers, right? So, for example, from the doors, let's make a conclusion here. We don't need to have just one schedule of each subject. It can be several schedules, height, I don't know, the numbers, the space, anything. Now here the priority is the space. From what space and to what space they enter. And if you see some of them are empty, you need to know that there's no room defined for that, right? Now here we can find a bug, a problem, see? We need to go find out what space I don't have a room for. You can click it and then click highlighted as in model. I don't need 3D obviously, so I click show. See? Close. And you see, it's the roof. My roof does not have room, right? And also not stairs. Well, it should have, right? But this outside, it makes sense. Even some people believe that we need to have a room for the roof. But at least I found it. Well, outside it, it's the roof. And the stairs, well, I thought I shouldn't have. Or actually I forgot. And now I'm going to. Let's go back. So we were saying that this schedule is, the priority of this schedule is based on the spaces. So let's go and create another schedule. So again, I can click schedule quantities, or I can duplicate right this one. No, I don't need to actually enter the same properties again. I could just duplicate this one. It's another schedule. Now, I just need to change the edit of this one. For example, I don't want the rooms in this one. And the sorting based on the same things, it's good, everything. Same ones we had. So one schedule is this one. I can also rename it. In parentheses, I'll write room. And this one, again, in parentheses, I write number or count. Now, I also want to create another schedule for the door. Can you say what the priority is? Well, I just want to know in each floor or level how many doors I've got. Pay attention to the question. This schedule says how actually in what levels or floors, right? Now the question is how many doors I have in each level. Here it says the name of the floor or the level. So I want the number. So again, I duplicate it. I rename it. Now, can you say what I should do now so that the priority changes to the levels? Can you say that? So that it announces to me how many and what kinds of doors I've got in each level. Well, it's very easy. You need to replace these two. This should be level, this should be family and type. See how interesting it becomes? So, for example, in the second basement, these kinds. In the first basement, these types. Now, how does it help us? We say, for example, we weren't about to have this kind of door in the first, for example, basement. Or, for example, we were not about to have a wooden door in the basement. What is it doing there? I hope you understand that these quantity schedules are really, really important. And if you're professional in it, you can actually like have an insurance that your project is completely well enough, right? Now, you see, we have three kinds of schedules from one door. This is the art of quantity, right? One was based on the levels, floors. And of course, if you want to know the main one, I can also replace these. It will be more organized. It doesn't have special effects. It just will be more organized. You see, it will be replaced. In the basement, for example, I have these. This is the total and all that. See, it's just really nice. Having control over quantity gives you a power, really. Now, this is everything about door. Two final points about doors, and then let's move forward. Let's review all these in other examples. One question. If here that the height here is, for example, 2.10, this emergency, if I change it to 2.80, what will happen? Nothing, actually. The height will totally change. Here it says the thing you're changing will work on all of them, right? You cannot change the name, but you can change the height. It means that we can edit the height and the width of the doors from right here, but remember that we cannot change the name. For example, if the name says 1, it does not mean, it doesn't make sense to change it and change it to 1.20. So what can we do? We can, for example, choose this. Now you want to select all of them and duplicate it. So you can click highlight in model. I don't want it in 3D. Maybe I want, I don't know. But you know what? Let's check it out. Yeah, that would be all right. You just want these two, for example, to change. So you select them. You can also change the type or duplicate anything you want. It's just up to you. You can select it. Any of these you click on, you can select. And a very important point, those who don't have width, what about them? Well, there are special doors of curtain wall. The special doors of curtain wall, the width of them came from panel, right? It didn't have a width itself, so it's not written here. So if you click highlighted in model in this one, you see, these are the doors of curtain wall. The dimensions are different. So in this way, you can find out which of these are curtain wall doors. Of course, all of them may have the same width, but know that they don't have sill height. This is the biggest sign that there are no sill heights for these. But you might also say that I want to know the width of these. Well, do you know the solution? You need to go to edit and change it to width. Finish. You see that? Now these two are separated. One of them is 2.90 and the other one is 3. I hope you truly understand this quantity, because it's not something to be memorized. Based on what you need to play with these items, you need to work on them. Right? And I will, of course, show you these in many other things. About doors, if you remember, in about types of doors and windows, we said something which we're going to repeat in quantity. Do you remember while we were working together, we had some types and groups for our doors and windows? Let me get you the PDF. Do you remember this? While we were talking about the types of doors and windows, I said that each of the doors, based on the material and an order, of course, width, it needs to have a code. For example, WD1, we said, for example, the glass door GD1, where is it? Or I don't know, PD, partition. We had this FR fire door. Now you were about to import these codes in the model of the doors, the types of the doors, right? If I've got a door here, you need to import this, enter this in this part. Now, don't you want this in your quantity schedule? Of course you do. So you can do that. Now, which one? You can add in even all of them. Now, let's add to this one with a number. Let's add one, actually, one column. And yeah, that's it. See? For example, now, what can I find out through this? Well, I forget. Oh my god, I forgot these. Maybe I didn't put them in types. You see, the rest of them are very organized. But for example, you even can see, and for example, you find out this is for stairs. It shouldn't have been wooden, but it is, right? Or for example, these emergencies must be fired up. Maybe I didn't, but I did. I paid attention. So these codes, when they are added here, again, it helps you control all of these. And obviously, you should have already done that. Good news. You can enter these codes in the schedule generally. For example, these are entrance. Now, you want them to have a type. So you click it and you open it. You see? You see all of the types here. So you can easily select them. Now, for example, you don't know the schedule. What should you do? You need to go into the project. You need to find them. You need to model them. See how difficult it would be? And this schedule really helps you. Really, it does. For example, this double glass, I open it. And I'll say, for example, for example, this is GD1 2 or GD2. I don't know. What did I do? I made a type. I created a type. These were GD1 now. These were GD2. I didn't have GD2, but I made it. I created it here. So interesting. I don't know what level you are. If you're a university student, if you're working in phase 2 or anything, you just use this information as much as you need, right? You don't even know maybe the modeling. You say, I'm at university. Well, it's okay. You can just use number of the doors and you see the total. You need to use these as much as you need. The rest, don't listen to. All right, let's go for the next category, next object, for example, wall. Now, let's go and talk about wall. If you're tired, if you feel that you need to practice all this before you go for next part, you can actually pause this video, practice, I don't know, get some schedules and then continue. But we can also continue and I will review all of these, of course. Now, let's go for wall. We've got a lot to talk about. So, view, schedules and quantity, then wall, and okay. Now, what do I want from wall? Well, obviously I want the area. I want the family and type. Again, you can also do it separately, but together would be less crowded. I want the length, and of course, the volume and the width. In wall, definitely we don't need count, the number, but I say do it. Do you know why? Because, for example, you might have a weird wall and you find out how many of this wall you've got. If you've got, for example, 500 of these, well, definitely there was something bad going on. But if you've got just one of this wall, well, definitely it was a small mistake, slight mistake. That's why I want you to have the count. Well, obviously, it's not going to help us in this schedule. So I put it up there. Then the type and the length, area, volume, and width. Well, let me tell you something really useful. We can use this schedule in order to have the level that the walls start from and end in. You have no idea how useful it is. So base constraint and even base offset. I will tell you why. Top constraint and top offset. Now, basically, these are the tools to control, right? They're not useful for calculating, so I'll put them down there. Now, check out what I do with these. Do you remember while I was teaching the walls, I said that definitely draw the walls level by level and columns level by level? Because now here I can use it based on the levels. I can have the quantity based on the level. So if I click OK, you see that I have very long and maybe useless schedule, which is not useful for me. Now, let's start putting them in groups like doors and making, of course, start making the groups smaller based on what we need. So at first, family and type, obviously. I want the total, and I don't want it to be itemized. Look at it very well. Now, this type of walls is used in your project. It says, this type of walls is used in your project. Then I'll say, can you give it to me based on the levels? Well, I know how to do that. What do I add here? Base constraint. It tells me which level they start from, and I'll click OK. See, based on the levels. Now I want it to be separated, so I click blank line and footer and click OK. You see the floors, the levels are separated. The second basement, for example, from this type of wall is used in these levels, for example, right? Now, next question, why don't we have the total number of length, area, or volume? Well, I'll say that for total number of the other parameters, we need to do something else. For numbers, that was enough. What we did so far was enough. But for the total number of other parameters, we need to enter formatting and then select them, right? What you want the total number of. For example, length, area, and volume. You don't want the width. What do you want it for? It's not useful. For example, you want 3 meters. You say, for example, this is 3 meters, the total width of the doors. It's not useful, but these are useful. So you can select calculate totals from here. And you see, I can see the total number. The total number of the walls based on the levels. And here we see the total number. I mean, this type of wall, this is the total number of it. Let's go and find out what other needs we've got. Before we move forward, let me explain these a bit. Well, base offset and top offset help you with understanding whether your walls have the offset uselessly. For example, you see there's a wall that has 2 centimeters offset. I mean, you suddenly doubt, what is it for? Right? You select it, you go to project, and you find the position using highlighted in model, and you find out what's going on. So, now these have different offsets which have been essential. Now, for example, using top constraint, you can find out whether you've got unconnected walls in your project, you go and find them and you find out why they are unconnected. Then you find out they're, for example, the walls of the yard or the campus or anything, and you find them. So in based on constraint and top constraint, we can for example, in base constraint, we can have the walls based on the levels, and top constraint, we can use it in order to find out which ones are unconnected. And base constraint and top offset is a controlling device which we can find out, through which we can find out and, of course, control the things. Now, I want to duplicate, and the priority, I want it to be the levels. You see, in parentheses, I type level. What should I do? I need to go to formatting and change their place. At first level, then family and type. I might even move this to the top because it's important now, isn't it? See, the second basement has these types of walls. The first basement has these types of walls. Now, these areas and things it gives us, maybe it's not useful directly. Maybe, for example, we need the volume. I don't even think so. But because we have different types of walls, I'm not sure these are useful. I've got nothing in mind. Maybe we will think about it and find out things that can be calculated using these numbers. So I could get these walls. Now, you might wonder what these names are and why they don't have length, why they don't have area or volume. Well, remember that when you see the family of some of the objects that we use the quantity for have some weird names. For example, it's not basic walls. We didn't have family wall 1. So can you tell me what these are? These are modelings. These are the things that have been created by modeling, and they got the category of wall. They show up in the project in this way. And definitely, if you remember, I told you in the modeling, the length is not calculated. Definitely. Right? The objects that are created by modeling, their length actually is not calculated. For example, let's go see what this is. Let me click highlight in model. Well, I'll click close. Now let me isolate it and find out what this is. Now, can you say how we need to check this in 3D? We need to click this, right, selection box. Then you click ZE. And it shows up. What was that modeling? Well, the structure that I had modeled for behind this. This is the substructure of this wall. See? This is it. It's a 3D wall. These are the wall posts. And everything. Now I did this as a sample, not for all the walls, just for this one. So anyway, I was saying that this is giving us the volume of that model, the area of that model. So when we have weird family and types, these are related to the modeling. We can click highlight in model and find them. And you see when these are like this, these are the models that have been created and either they have been deleted or they're wrong. For example, there are sheets and they're not in your actually model. So the ones that are modeled, you definitely get the area and volume. But if you don't see these volumes and areas, it means that they don't exist. So this is everything about walls. Let me tell you another point. For example, you see this? For example, we've got a wall with this thickness, for example, 26 centimeters. So you say that this is wrong, I don't want it. So you click it, you open it here. You see, for example, you want this to be this type. You delete it. That type was deleted and this is replaced here. So in this part, we can change all the walls in a type and replace them with another type, right? You can easily replace them. Let's go and understand one more thing. I think I didn't explain you about this project. This is called Tisakish 2. I was the manager of designing the phase 2 and the BIM. Right. Now, these are other projects that I will show you. And I think it was about 85,000 meters. And everything is modeled in Revit. So this project has many curtain walls. Let me tell you short memory. The quantity of the company was was an engineer. Once she came up to me and she said that, please give me the plans because I want to calculate the area of the glass so that we can order and get the price and all that, you know. And I said, what do you want the plans for? She said, I wanted to calculate the area. And I said, why do you want to do that? I will give it to you. And then she said, no, that would be you would be in a big trouble and it's not your duty. And I told her, just sit down here. 1 minute, I will give it to you. I told her, just sit down with me. I will calculate it right now. She said, just like that? I said, yeah, just like that. I mean, it was so fast. She wanted to calculate all of these. Like, oh my God. Now, I will show you how fast and how accurately I can give you the area of these curtain walls, of these glasses. So what can I find here? Curtain panels. Just the panels of the curtain walls. What do I want from it? I want the area. I don't need the count again that much, but well, it's free. Let's just take it. Family and type. Maybe one of them is 50% glass. Maybe one of them is 30%. So if you have both of them as a type, here it's shown. The height, of course, the height of each of those panels, the width. You have any idea how fantastic this is? It also gives you the number of the types that should be cut, right? You're seeing the other side of the Revit. That's great. So that's enough. Grouping based on family and type. I want the total, no itemize. Let's just click OK for now. Let's find out what's going on. So, see, it's so organized. Now I said that the panels that are stainless steel, we've got some panels that are not made of glass. They're not made of glass. Some of them are stainless, some of them are glazed, some of them are solid. Solids, we don't know what they're going to be. We just know that they're not bright, they're not going to be glazed. We can see the number. The area, I said, is the total number of all the parameters except the number. You can go to formatting and select area and calculate totals. You might say, why not height and width? Well, we don't need the width, right? We don't need the total width of the panels. So why am I even seeing this width? I said, if you need to know, for example, how many panels with, for example, 1.20 height you've got, you can separate them. If you don't want that, here it tells you that you need to order, for example, 60,762 meters glazed. You need to order that much. But if you don't want to know it for cut, you need to group it here. All right. Right, so I want to group them based on height and width too. Wow, nice. For example, here it says, this glazed panel, we've got 8 of them, right? Or for example, this glazed panel, we've got this number. I can also duplicate it and have them both. Alright, let's go and see an example about stairs. Stairs are really nice here too. Now, what do I want with the stairs? I want the number, the count, the family and type, the base level and top level. Wow, how useful it is for controlling, of course. Maybe the actually stairs are from level 1 until the roof, flat. Maybe I have some stupid offsets and I can find out. What else? Actual riser height. Maybe you created a stair that the riser height is 25 centimeters. How many types of stairs? What the heights are? For example, the width. Maybe the width is too small. Minimum tread depth. Any of these you want, you can select in this list. But these are the most essential ones. So count, type, base level, top level, actual riser height, and the width. Now, let's group them. Family and type, blank and footer, itemize, no. Well, usually the stairs are not a lot, so if I itemize it, it will not be that bad. So based on level should be separated. It does not give us anything like this. So it just tells us that we've got 35 emergency exit stairs and 9 these stairs. So let's just say that after modeling based on base level, it should be grouped. So here it says we've got some stairs that 8 of them are in basement and 9 of them are here, like that. Again, let's separate it. Let's group it based on top level and actual riser height. Now that's over. Here we have the width too. You can separate it, you can group it based on width. Now, you've got 7 stairs that start from the second basement to the first basement and the actual riser height is 80 centimeters. Here the same thing. 2 stairs from the first basement to second basement. These are small stairs. Do you remember? And the riser height is 70. For example, this one. Let's go and find why this is 15 and the other ones are 70. Now I know why, but I just tell you, right? And blah blah blah. For example, I look at all of these and I see how well I designed them. None of my stairs are more than 18. I just got 120. And then I think, why this is 20? Highlighted model. Why do I think I can see it? Let me close it. Rotate it. Here. This is the site. This is topography. When I delete it, you can see this is it. Topography is for testing the ground. See? Now, this is a stair. These are stairs for 20 centimeters. It's in the yard, so we just let it go. But we can say, well, it's wrong. We change it to 3 stairs. You can also say where they have gone to. The other quantity, which is really useful and common, is for room, right? A schedule for the rooms. I'm giving you many examples. I cannot check all the quantities. For example, floor is basically the same with the wall. So you can just do the rest in your mind. So definitely I want the area. What about the count? We always have this number count. I want the department if you have done it, right? If you have had the department, you can have it. If not, no necessary. Then we've got level, name, which is basically the most important one, the volume, and limit offset. To have the height. At first we've got count, name. Oh, I forgot perimeter. So perimeter, area, level is good to be close. And limit offset because it's not that important, we'll let it be out just in the end. See how well they show themselves? Names. If you have bad names, if you've given bad names, here you just mess it up. Now let's group it based on name, most important. For example, stores are really important in this project. For example, we've got 405 stores. Now, level is empty. Why? Because it's in different levels. We can just group it. Blank footer. Okay. It's becoming a good schedule. For example, bathroom. We've got it. We have the total number. So, for example, here we know we've got 3 kitchens. Chicken, oh my god. I will explain all of these. So in this way you can find them easily. We can also have the total width or total area. So I want both perimeter, I want all perimeter, area and width. Now we know that the total area of this is this much, for example. We obviously know that the material used here is the same, and for example, it's this much. You see what good, interesting information we can get. For example, the perimeter. We can get many things. When we actually take these in Excel, we can calculate some of them in Excel too. So, in this way, for example, the store I said that is important. Here it says in each level. Here we have the area of the store for which the entrepreneur gets money. And as long as your design is changing, this schedule is automatically changing, and the entrepreneur can know, for example, this area is any time. For example, now it's this number. This project is, for example, about 60,000 meters, and they can sell it. You can get much interesting information as long as you work properly. Well, let me tell you that the things that are written here, some of them are not placed, and then there are no pieces of information. There are 2 expressions for room, which you need to learn, because in this project, it's a bit difficult to explain. I'm going to show it to you in a small project, that what they are and how we need to work with them. So, I want to teach those 2 expressions in this project. You remember this, right? We have already worked on it. Let me change it first to name. Now I want to have a room schedule. Count is useless, but let's just have it. Level, name, perimeter, volume, and just this, yeah. First we've got the count, then the name, area, perimeter, area, volume, and level. Let's have level here. Grouping based on name and based on level. Let's see if that turned out well. Yeah, that's enough so far. We can have the total number of these three. Now, the two expressions. One of them is not placed, that we have one of now. It says there is a room called not placed. It means that there used to be a room which you deleted, right? We used to have two A rooms. One of them was deleted, one of them is in level 2. So let's go delete that one too. Here, I deleted this. Now let's check the schedule. This is not placed. So the rooms, if they exist in the project and then be deleted, somehow their ghosts remain in the project. As long as you select them and then click delete, they remain in the schedule, right? So for example, now you want it to be deleted forever, for good. So when you want to present your project as the final project, you may have many of these, so you must delete them, right? Let me see the T-Circuit project again. You see, this is a big project. There have been 23 of them, 20, I don't know, 3 of these. They have been deleted, but they have not been deleted from the whole project. So you can delete your rooms using these schedules. This is one expression. I will explain how to delete them all together at once. There's also another expression, which is if you, in any reason, have some rooms on each other which are repeated, there is a warning that says this is wrong, but you don't click delete room in any reason, right? You click OK. Let me change the name of this so that I can show you. DD. Now if I go to the schedule, it says, you see, it says DD, redundant. This one should be deleted too, right? So the rooms that are not placed, which means I drew them and I deleted them, or they are redundant, we should actually delete those. So I select this too, not delete it. Now in a project that is very big, very large, how can we delete them all, not placed? How can we see all the not placed together? Well, I expect you to know this. We need to change the rhythm of sorting and grouping. Now we care about level, so it should be based on level, right? It should be sorted based on first level, then name. Then what happens? You see, the not placed are all together at the beginning. We've got 131 rooms that were placed in our project and then were deleted in any reasons. See, we can copy them all and then click delete. So now you know how to make your rooms organized just by using the schedule. And for those redundants, the same thing. Based on volume, for example, you group it. We don't have it in this project because it was too organized. For example, based on volume or perimeter, I group it. All the redundants are immediately after each other and we delete them. About rooms, it's good to know another thing. That's if you, for example, have number for it, It has a number, for example. Now, I don't care what it is based on. There is another advantage which we have in this schedule is that, for example, it says str or ser. You might say, why is it written like this? Right? Why is it written automatically like this? So you can actually easily change it to anything you want. For example, your language is not English, right? You can change it to any language you want. You can change the name, anything, right? You can change the names easily right here. So if you if someone, I don't know, the entrepreneur says that the namings are not well enough, you can change it easily right here. You don't need to go to the project anymore. For example, you want to change the number, or for example, it doesn't have a number, you give it a number, right? You can easily change it here. Right, like the rest of the things. But in Room, changing names is really important, which we can change in this schedule. Well, this is one of the most important quantities of our projects, schedule or quantity. Now, something that happily was added to Revit 2018 was the Revit of link and group. Now, you might not understand what I'm going to say properly, right? Actually, until a year ago, we didn't used to have the group schedule or quantity. For example, a year ago, I worked on a hotel, and generally in hotels, every type of I actually group every type of the room. And I don't have the file now because of security things. Well, I do have it, but I can't show it to you. Sorry. So every type of the room was in one group, and finally we wanted to have the quantity, that how many of each type we have, but the quantity didn't show us the group. Or for example, we wanted to, in some projects, do you remember we talked about link? I said that we can add the number of the project. We couldn't find out, for example, how many of the link in type 1 we have. It didn't used to, but now it does, right? If you go to the schedule, you can see that, don't search it with G, of course, model group, right? Gives you model group. I can have the level of the group or reference level. See, the groups that I've created are shown to me. Or for example, the things that have been linked in the project can be given to you. And I can say that these two that were added to 2018 version were really helpful. Let me tell you a final thing to move forward to other schedules in this list. So while you are using quantity or schedule for anything, be careful of this option. Include elements in links. Now, for example, if you've got 4 or 5, if you have merged 4 or 5 projects in one file, for calculating all of them in one file, actually, you need to activate this. For example, now I'm working on a tower, right? The design of a tower. This tower is divided into 3 parts. Now these 3 parts are merged into one project. And when we want to have the schedule, we need to activate this, right? All the walls and the links need to appear in our file. But if you don't activate this, it's just a part of it. So this is for the time you have linked something in your project and you want to have that in your schedule. And if you don't want it, don't activate it. I'm not going to say any examples about it. Just, yeah.